Have you ever had the chance to use, this isn't my first rodeo? Have you been in that situation where you're like, someone's questioning your ability? And you're, well, I guess
I'm
you're
a woman in tech.
So I guess you have been.
Yes. Yes, I have.
Hello and welcome to Tech About Town, brought to you by Communitech. I'm one of your hosts, Alex Kinsella. Today, I have a new guest host in the studio, Michelle Engelhardt. Welcome to the studio.
Thanks, Alex.
So for our listeners at home or in the car or wherever they might be listening to this podcast on Spotify and Apple Podcasts and YouTube Music, which I just figured out we're on there today. What do you do here at Communitech?
Yeah, so I run the Fierce Founders programs. They've been running since 2016 now. We've had over 400 founders go through the programs. We have 3 programs right now running, and the whole point of it is to help founders through a journey of growing their business, meet them where they're at with their businesses and help them grow them.
So 10 years of Fierce Founders.
I know, I thought that was ironic.
There's a little bit of a segue. Sometimes the biggest movements start with the simplest calls to action. In 2015, Dinah Davis was set to speak to grade 9 girls in a STEM workshop. She printed up 80 stickers with the tagline, "Code like a girl," and put them out on her table. Those 80 stickers were gone in seconds. The interest sparked Dinah to research what resources existed to get more girls and women into STEM careers. She started writing about her experiences working in tech, which led her to launch Code Like a Girl on Medium in 2016. Over the last 10 years, Code Like a Girl has featured more than 4,000 stories from over 1,000 writers sharing their experiences as women and non-binary people working in STEM fields. This year, Dinah expanded Code Like a Girl to Substack and is continuing to drive conversations to encourage more girls to forge their paths in STEM fields. Welcome to the show, Dinah.
Thank you.
It's good to have you.
I feel like I want to say like long-time listener, first-time caller.
You can totally say that.
Let's not. Let's cut that out.
No, we might leave that in. It's an old radio. Do you get that reference? It's an old radio.
Oh,
it's an old radio
I didn't know.
reference.
I didn't know that Fierce Founders was also 10 years old.
I didn't either, and I would have
think
worked it
that's,
into
like,
my show notes.
Really cool.
It is. Yeah.
I think that's really, really cool. Yeah.
Well, it's a lot of impact over 10 years. And I think of all the companies that I know from Fierce Founder, like the boot camp, from the pitch competitions, from articles on Communitech News and the Record and everywhere else I can think of. Like it's been an interesting 10 years, and I think a really beneficial 10 years.
Definitely. Yeah. I've seen founders from the early stage boot camp. They go on to raise their Series A. You start to see it now. It takes a while.
Yeah.
So that journey is
because
really
Fierce
cool.
Founders are really early stage, so they're sometimes just ideas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In 10 years, you see a lot of growth. Yeah, I wanted to jump back to your early career. And I was wondering if you could tell us about your early career and why you chose math and cryptography and what it was like to start in tech as a woman.
Oh, Lord, that's like a really loaded question, and the whole podcast could be just on that one question. Like, I have this long story sometimes that I tell, but I'm going to try and like make it really small today. But anyway, it started in high school where I really just loved mathematics, and I went to my career counselor, who was a man, and I, was like, what should I do for school, for university? And he was like, well, you should be a math teacher because you're a girl, right? And I was like, all right, I'm 17. I don't know any different. I guess I'm going to go to school to become a math teacher. But like, I guarantee you, all the guys that went in there who were in my like advanced calculus class, and I had like the top grades in that class, they were all told to go be engineers and physics or what have you. I don't know if they would have suggested computer science at the time because I'm old and that wasn't like really a big thing yet. So it was like probably 1996, 97. So I ended up going to the University of Lethbridge in Alberta because they have this amazing program where in 5 years, you get a Bachelor of Arts or Science and a teaching degree, and you're done and you're out. But they had this pre-education class that you had to take, and you spent some time in a classroom. And then that's when I realized I didn't like other people's children. And so I realized, to be a really good teacher, I mean, it's not really true. I do like other people's children, but I didn't really like managing a classroom. And I think to be a really good teacher, like you should be really passionate about teaching. And I was really passionate about mathematics.
Yeah. I mean, I assume that that's the difference between teaching like in, what did we call pre-university? What do you call that?
High school?
High school, yeah.
Okay, you're
No, but I meant like K through 12. Like, I don't know.
primary and primary.
I'm so used to just writing post-secondary that I'm like pre-secondary.
Yes.
I don't know. Anyways, but like that's the thing. If you're like a university professor, you love your subject, and
Correct.
like not to insult teachers, professors, but like the students are the kind of the second thing. Versus if you're in like primary, secondary school, you care about education, and then your subject is your secondary.
Exactly.
Your secondary love.
Yeah. And then
sorry to all the people I just insulted.
no, I mean, you should want to be a teacher. Like that should be your calling. And I just felt like it wasn't mine. And so I saved many children from being taught by a terrible teacher, I feel like. So anyway, in my third year, I took a computer science class, and I had been listening to all my friends who, God love them, were in humanities, who were also forced to take first year computer science at my school. And they all told me it was really hard. So I'd put it off till third year. And I can still remember like walking into this huge auditorium, sitting down kind of, I don't know, halfway through, and the professor starting to talk and explain maybe like how to write a hello world or whatever. And I just like remember this feeling of like, oh my God, this is just like another syntax for how I already think. Like this is a way to solve real world problems. That's not just mathematics. It actually creates and does something. And I just got like really, really excited about computer science within the first couple classes. And then, I just tried to take as many computer science courses as I could from then on, but I was already in my third year, so it wasn't as many as I would like. But then I ended up, I was like, okay, now I'm going to have just like a math degree. What am I going to do? I need to be able to find a job, so I should join the co-op program. And so I was looking at the listings, and there was one listing that said they were looking for mathematicians who could code. And I was like, that's me. Hand up in the air, me. And so I applied to this job, and it was for the CSE, which is the Canadian Security Establishment, which is like the NSA of Canada. And I got the job, and they had to do this whole, like, you need a security clearance and everything for it. So within
major spycraft stuff.
It really is kind of, yeah. So it was really cool. So I went there, and the job was to work in their crypto group. So this is how I was like introduced to cryptography and cybersecurity. And this is going to date me like really badly. So the primary job that I had was to take the algorithm called Bluetooth and to code it in C++ so that they could run tests on it to see if they could break it, because it was being recommended to NIST, which is the National Information and Security, I forget the T, in the States, but basically they had to replace the current AES algorithm, which I'm getting way too in the weeds. But anyway, they were evaluating a whole bunch of algorithms to be the new AES standard, and Bluetooth was one of them. And it turns out it's just like inherently very insecure, but who knew 10 years later, everybody would know the word Bluetooth. So it's possible I'm one of the first people who ever coded Bluetooth.
Because I always think of it as like that almost was Wi-Fi back in the day.
Yeah.
But not. And I didn't know it had anything to do with security because it's Bluetooth. And
well, it's a cryptographic algorithm. It's a way to exchange keys, basically.
Yeah, I had no idea.
Yeah, neither did I.
Yeah, I know. We just think of it as like Bluetooth.
Yeah. You just know that chime, the Bluetooth device is not connected.
Yeah.
But there you go. And it obviously it's not secure either then, right?
No. Not very.
So
when we were at BlackBerry, we created this really cool like smart card reader thing, and it worked over Bluetooth, but we had to run it we had to run encryption across it to make sure it would stay, like all communications between the BlackBerry and this reader would stay would stay secure. Yeah, that was one of the projects I worked on there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
I mean, I think I mostly answered the question, but maybe not fully. Oh, okay. So you were also asking what it was like to be a woman in tech then. Okay.
Yeah.
So at the University of Lethbridge, because it's a school that is a big school for teachers and stuff, the ratio of women to men at the school was about 6-1.
Wow.
And when in my fourth year, when I took my first like second year or third year level computer science course, I walked into the room and there was about 60 people in this class. I think it was different languages class. And there was 2 women and I was one of them. And this is at a school
6-1. Yeah.
that is 6-1 women to men. And that's how few there were. And I remember walking in, it was like quite intimidating, but
I was going to ask
like,
how that felt.
it was quite intimidating, but I don't know. If you've met me before, I'm a little bit fearless sometimes. And so I decided that like, I really liked working with other people on assignments. That's what we did in the math department. And so I remember at the very end of the first class, we had been given an assignment and I turned around to this group of, I don't know, 4 or 5 guys. And I just said, "Hi, I'm Dinah. Are you guys going to work on this assignment anytime soon? Can I work with you?" And they just, he just looked at me like, "The girl talked to us." They were like just dumbfounded. And I still know a few of those guys today, even. So, but yeah, they were nice guys.
Yeah. So it was a overwhelming just at the gender difference.
Yeah.
But then not entirely negative, or
I mean, they were really nice guys. So
Yeah.
I didn't have a bad experience with it, but it's just, I don't know, Alex, if you put yourself in a situation and you walked into a room and it was you and 30 women, it's just going to feel a little bit awkward.
It happened because I almost did teaching when I was in university, and I walked into like the first course I was going to take for that degree.
Yeah.
And it was me and like 2 other guys, and everyone else was a woman.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's kind of, I mean, this is in the 90s as well. And I was just like, that's interesting because it's a 50-50 school, and there's this program that is. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's just uncomfortable because you have to feel like you're an other, or you're an only. I like to say you're an only.
Yeah.
And being an only can be really hard, even in an inviting environment. Never mind in a not inviting or hostile environment.
Yeah. But to me, it doesn't seem like the ratio's gotten better,
but
to
not
a degree,
that much.
But not
better.
that much better. I mean, I think about like the organizations that I know, like the companies that I know, and there's still the majority of developers are men.
Mm-hmm.
The majority of people in marketing and comms, HR, are women.
Yeah.
That's very true.
Yeah. I mean, I think when I started in my career in computer science or tech or whatever, the ratio is probably more like 10% women. And I'd say today, like if there's various different studies that will tell you it's anywhere between 20 and 30%. Although I believe the ones that say 30 probably include a lot wider roles than just say like a software developer, right? And we also see like a lot of attrition of women in tech in their 30s leaving, a lot of them leaving, which is also really problematic. And I mean, I guess to some extent I'm even part of that statistic where I decided to retire at 43. So I'm no longer in the corporate world. I'm still in tech from an ecosystem perspective, doing different things, but I'm not working in a company anymore.
Yeah, I'm curious why. Do you have thoughts on why you think so many women are leaving at that age?
It's toxic.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't really know if there's any other way to. The cultural environment makes it very difficult for them to stay, and it's not that people are openly against you. It's just death by 1,000 cuts.
Like it's not open like misogyny. It's
not open misogyny.
It's like subtle.
It's subtle misogyny. Yeah. And I like to the way I kind of describe it as we've gotten to the hardest part. Well, I feel like 5 years ago, I thought we got to the hardest part, which was everybody recognized that we needed diversity in our companies, and we were starting to really promote diversity programs, and everybody talked about it. And a lot of men in the organizations thought they were being allies. In reality, there was a lot of unconscious bias going on still. And so to even bring it up and to point it out was very difficult. It's a hard thing. Like, unless you talk to all of your peers, you don't know that you're making less money. You don't know for sure if you didn't get that promotion because of something you did or your gender. No one probably decided that you wouldn't get it because of your gender, but because of many unconscious bias you have over many meetings, many things, you just get deprioritized. But when you look at it in aggregate, it's more obvious that is what's happening, right? But I would now argue that we were probably in a better place 5 years ago than we are today. Today it's worse. We have, a government in the U.S. who has decided to weaponize the term DEI. That the whole idea that diversity, inclusion, and equity could be a bad thing, that it's been coded as this thing where people just, are getting an extra leg up that they shouldn't get. And so we're seeing, many companies, especially the big ones like the Googles and Facebooks and various other ones, actively dismantling their DEI programs, which is going to set us back even further than we were before. In fact, like Google 2 weeks ago dismantled their, I believe it's called Women in Tech program.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it's a harder fight now because now it's been weaponized against us. But it doesn't mean that we quit fighting. Mm-hmm. It doesn't mean that we quit doing what we need to do. Personally, I keep running Code Like a Girl to continue to try and amplify the voices of women in technology. And I mentor individuals in the community to just try and help get more women up into the leadership positions and that kind of thing.
Yeah. So one that I think a lot of organizations struggle with is around how to promote women in STEM fields, in tech, while also not tokenizing women in tech. So you think of like I always think there's someone had a joke on LinkedIn, and it's, does anyone know a man in tech, right? It's like that kind of, mm-hmm. If you need someone for a panel, it's always that kind of, we got to find someone, but
got to find a woman to
put on this panel.
Yeah.
But then at the same time, just putting a woman or two women on a panel doesn't necessarily move the needle. It's it's a performative thing to do versus mm-hmm. saying
I call it diversity theater.
Yeah. So how do you have any thoughts, or do you have any conversations on what organizations can do to not fall into the trap, especially as DEI has been weaponized now? Like, how as an organization, does Code Like a Girl do this, where you want to move the needle to get more girls and women into STEM? So how do you do that in a way that you can see the output of the actions and the effort that you put in?
I mean, we're not right.
Yeah, I was gonna say you tell stories, but I mean, in a good, like, not in a,
yeah,
you just tell stories. But like, how do you like measure the impact of what you're doing? Do you measure the impact of what you're doing?
I don't from a aggregate point of view, but what I can say is, there's many women who have started writing with Code Like a Girl who have, a year later or 2 years later, messaged back just saying, thank you for seeing me. Thank you for being the person to first, share my stories. Gave me confidence to write more about it, or Like there's a beautiful woman, Jenny Oranga. I hope I said her name correctly. But she first started writing on Medium, and she does a lot of work with AI, and now she's moved over to Substack as well, and has over 1,000 followers. And so I invited her to join Code Like a Girl on Substack. She's like, of course, you were the first person to champion me. And I was like, I was what? Really? Like, I don't know these things because I just see, good articles and I want to support them and push them forward. And so it can be very lonely, like running something like Code Like a Girl, where you just get submitted all these articles and you publish them and you move forward, and you don't really fully know the impact that you're making. You're hoping you're making an impact, and then every once in a while you get these notes from people that just said, you made an impact on me. Thank you. And she's been just such a huge help and promoter on the Substack side for Code Like a Girl because of it. Now, you were asking about, what companies can do. And there's a lot of practitioners out there who, are not selling snake oil. They are selling real things on what you can do to improve diversity and inclusion. Inclusion, I think, is the biggest one. And so for me, there's a few things that people inside companies can do. And because one of the things that happens a lot of the time is women's ideas get discounted. You get interrupted, and things like that. So one of the easiest things you can do to support a woman in tech, whether you're a woman or a man, is if they get interrupted, to redirect the conversation. They may not feel confident doing that, but you could, easily say, oh, excuse me, I believe Dinah was finishing her point. Dinah, what was that you were saying? Or another thing that happens very often is that their ideas are stolen inside the meeting. So, I might have an idea, I might express that idea, and 10 minutes later, Joe reiterates the idea and everybody jumps on board. Well, if you're the leader in that room or you're someone of power, you might want to say, oh, excellent, Joe. I love that you've jumped on Dinah's idea. And so you can do it very subtly, but importantly, right? And then the other biggest thing is to champion women when they're not in the room. And I was fortunate to have a few bosses who really were more of sponsors than mentors. And people talk about the difference between a mentor and a sponsor. And a mentor, helps you work through things and pushes you further. But a sponsor will champion you outside the room when you're not there. And I think doing that can be one of the biggest things we can do. There's all kinds of programs you could include in your company, but if you could just get, some of the senior leaders to recognize these patterns that happen in meetings and then help lift those women up just by making sure they're actually heard, I think that would make a big difference.
I was curious, how do you see technologies like AI, for example, affecting the pipeline of women in tech?
Well, I think like in general, AI, at least to start, is having a negative impact on the talent pipeline of tech.
Yep.
Full stop.
Mm-hmm.
I think, unfortunately, what it's doing is it's breaking the first rung of the ladder to tech careers in general. So if you think back to your first software development job, the types of tasks we would do is, you would get a list of bugs to go and fix. And then even your fixes, they would have to be code reviewed with somebody else. And you would get many features to work on and things like that, right? Small things. Mm-hmm. Well, those are the types of tasks that we're now asking tools like Copilot and other things to just write. The AI is really good at fixing those micro like bugs and problems and stuff. And eventually it's going to get good at doing the wider and bigger things. And It is good at doing some of those already now. But what's happening is, one, we can see there has been a drop in postings for new grad positions. It also coincides with the highest unemployment rate for youth that Canada's had in a long time, the 15 to 24-year-old group. And previously, whenever there was like economic downturns in the last 25 years, software developers didn't really feel it. There was always jobs for software developers. And because of AI, that is not really the case anymore. And we can see that. We can see that on LinkedIn. It breaks my heart, the number of open for work badges that I see lately. So the problem is we have to sort out how we are going to take these new grads and how we are going to integrate them in and how we are still going to build up their knowledge set. Because if we don't fix that problem, we are going to see a generation of software developers. So for example, today, you take a seasoned software developer and they start using AI to augment their work. And it's not really a problem. It's actually pretty good. They can get a lot more done. But when something breaks, that seasoned software developer knows how to go in and fix whatever the AI broke, right? Or even if you have it write a script or something, you can go in and double check that everything is okay. But if we take away the training ground, that's what AI is doing right now. It's taking away our first level training ground where we're teaching software developers how, because if you remember, if you went in school, we used to ask this interview question at BlackBerry back in the day, and people would think this is a crazy question, but basically this is the question. You come into work one day and your boss has emailed you that there's a bug in your code and they have gone on vacation and they're unreachable. What do you do? And there wasn't really a wrong answer except the one answer that people might give. Well, I'll just wait for my boss to get back. I was like, okay, I'm not hiring you. But you wanted them to say, I'm going to go look through the code reviews. I'm going to go look at the build logs. I'm going to go talk to my coworkers and ask if they know anything about it. And they would, some people would say this is such an unrealistic question. Why are you asking me this? And it literally was not an unrealistic question.
Super realistic question.
Yeah. Especially at BlackBerry, we would get bug logs sent to us from Mike L saying, my son did this with his BlackBerry. It's broken, fix it. And that's all you had. And you better go and fix it. But it's something that happens in tech all the time. But that's the kind of training ground that's not going to exist anymore because AI is going to help us find those things, right? And so we have to figure out a way to do that. And so if it's affecting everyone, I think it will also, it's going to also impact the women who are there as well. Mm-hmm. But I think it's it's a larger problem that we have to figure out, because in 20 years we don't want AI writing everything, and when something comes catastrophically down, who's going to fix it?
Yeah. It's almost like to build on where you're saying, we've broken that first rung.
Yeah.
And then we're also cutting the ladder.
Yeah. We're cutting off the ladder.
Yeah.
So we have to figure out ways to add that training ground back in, whether it's alongside AI, or we're not going to get rid of AI. That's just the cat's out of the bag. It's happening. And the reality is it's a really cool time. It's as big as the Industrial Revolution. It's as big as the introduction of the internet. Our world's changed dramatically. If you think about our worlds in 1985 to 2000, our world's changed dramatically. That we are in the same shift. We are at the beginning of the same kind of shift. Our world's going to look completely different in 10 years because of AI. It's just how will we do that, and what are the new jobs that are going to come up? But it's an interesting problem.
Yeah. Stemming off that, I think about women entering the workforce now. If you were to think back to your younger self, what advice would you give to a woman now entering
I will tell you the advice I would give to myself, which will likely apply to many women. You do not need to be liked to be successful. And I think, as we grow up and as we're kind of taught, women are, we're supposed to be likable. We're supposed to smile. We're supposed to, not raise a ruckus. But in business, you have to get your ideas across. You have to solve problems that other people aren't going to solve. And to do that, some people aren't going to like you. And it took me a long time to get over the fact that even if I did my job really, really well, people aren't always going to like you. And that's okay. And I just, some men might also struggle with that, but I think less so than women.
Yeah. Well, I think it always goes back to that. If a man is being aggressive, he's being assertive. And if a woman's being aggressive, it's being bossy.
Exactly.
And that's always that little bit of a double standard.
Yeah.
Just a little.
Yeah. A guy can be an asshole and get away with it. And it's just him being like, oh, he's just the boss. It's fine. But if a woman does that, they cannot get away with it. And I think it's just learning, to have confidence in yourself. Like, you're smart. You can do it. And you don't have to have people like you to be successful. I don't mean go treat people poorly by any means or anything like that, but I just mean you're not trying to chase getting them to like you to do a good job. You're trying to solve hard problems in a way that's going to help the company and your customers and your employees be successful.
I was thinking Jerry Maguire. It's not show friendship, it's show business. Show me the money. Show me the money.
Show me the money.
There's a lot of people who won't get that reference. I made a Clueless reference the other day, and that
Nice.
Went way over a couple people.
My daughter should be fine. I made sure to show her that movie so she wouldn't be left behind.
On a random thing I used to describe vibe-coded projects, because they're total Monets, because from far away they look really good, but once you get up close, they're a total mess.
Interesting. That's okay.
Yeah.
All right. Are all vibe-coded projects bad? I think it's how good you are at doing it.
I think all vibe-coded projects, when you build them, are bad.
Oh,
off the
okay.
bat.
Yes.
And then people who know what they're doing will go in and fix
refine them and
everything.
fix them. Yes, I would agree.
Yeah.
I would agree. Yeah.
There you go. I know we're kind of slightly running out of time, but I did want to ask you one.
I totally knew this would happen.
Really, no, it's good. No, that's better than us not running out of time. And then we're just like,
awkward.
so we have to come up with like filler questions. This is not a filler question. This is just one that I thought was interesting. And it vibes kind of with the show in general, but you launched Code Like a Girl on Medium.
Yeah.
You've pivoted to Substack this year.
Yeah.
You shared some numbers, pretty significant. You dropped from 60,000 monthly reads to 15,000 and from March to September, 74% drop.
Yeah.
What's happening on Medium?
Honestly, I think the platform is dying. So our most read stories are from 2018.
Yeah.
Our most read story ever is Insane. It had 2.5 million views.
We're going to link to it in the show notes.
I was going to say, what was it?
It was how to undo a commit. So, and I find it interesting. I was having this
SEO as a title too.
It is, right? Like, and almost all the traffic was like, if you go and look at the post, most of the traffic is from Google.
Yeah.
But I think it's so interesting and so indicative of that time, because today a story that says how to undo your last commit would never go viral, because people would just ask AI, right?
Yeah.
But in 2018 they would Google it, and likely they were going to Stack Overflow, but this might pop up and they might see that and then go look at it. I mean, and that's the most crazily viewed topic ever. I did a little bit of stats generating the other day for this podcast, and over the 10 years, we've had over 10 million views on Medium. So that one story, one story is like 2% of the views. It's crazy. But yeah, and so Medium was already starting to die in 2021, 2022. And then they introduced this new program called the Boost Nomination Program, where as a publication owner, I was allowed to submit 20 stories a month to them. And they would consider it for boosting and put it in some kind of boosted algorithm, which was really cool. They were very opaque about what would get boosted. It was hard to kind of figure it out. But by this time last year, I kind of had. And so I was getting about like 15, 16 stories boosted a month. And if a story was boosted, you could guarantee it be getting between like 500 and 1,500 views was kind of good. And then in January, it all ended. And they didn't end their boost program. The boost program is still there today, but my boost rates already started dropping to like only getting 2 or 3 boosts a month. And this was happening across the platform. With my conversations with other publication editors, after seeing also what they're running through on Substack, that happened. And then also writers' earnings just started disintegrating. So the writing was starting to be on the wall, and it kept getting worse and worse and worse. Like my boost rate was like something, even, I don't know, I gave you the numbers there in March. I don't know, it was probably around 60%. By August, it was 2%. Yeah. 7%, something 7% like that.
In August, yeah.
And that was kind of like, okay, I had to decide, am I going to let Cold Like a Girl die? Because Medium's dying and people are leaving in force, right? So we might have, it blows my mind. We have 56,000 followers on Medium, and many stories that don't get a boost, because most don't, are lucky through our pub to get 50 reads.
Yeah. But you've moved them.
And honestly, that's better than a lot of other publications. I've put some of my stories that are not tech into other people's publications, and I've gotten 7 reads on the same stories that I put on Substack that have 300 or 400 views. They're not bad stories, but it's just indicative of what's happening on Medium.
So is Substack then like the main today?
Yeah. So what we did, I decided to do, I started my own personal Substack in February, and I really kind of liked it. It's kind of like early days Twitter. It's with long form. It's kind of got a little social media site and, your blog stuff going. And I was getting to know how it was going there. And I'm an anomaly because I just write about anything. I don't niche myself. I just write about anything. And I was so frustrated in August with Medium. I had to make a decision. Do I let Cold Like a Girl die, or do I put the work in and expand? And I felt like there was a good shot at it being able to have a resurgence and a new life on Substack. And boy, was I right. I've been blown away. We started publishing August 28th with 0 followers. We have, as of this morning, close to 380 subscribers. That's people. My personal Substack's been on there for 10 months. I have like 360. Yeah. So it's a quick that's growth. A very quick growth. Yeah. And what I love about it is on Medium, we were posting lots of stories all the time, sometimes up to 20 a week, which was exhausting. We are publishing only 3 stories a week on Substack. The quality of the story has to be much, much higher. And then Medium is only the long form. And once it's published, there's nothing you can do to get more views other than try and post it through your own social sites.
Yeah, it's just there. Yeah.
Whereas on Substack, there's this beautiful community and they have this notes feature, which is, it's pretty much like Twitter of old.
It looks just like Twitter.
Yeah. And it also means that I can restack and share stories from other people's publications, so other women writing. And the coolest thing I'm seeing on and a big difference between the two platforms is there's so many women like getting into AI on Substack. It's beautiful. And they're creating a whole bunch of stuff around this whole vibe coding world, and they're figuring it out. Some of them are former tech people. Some of them are just totally diving in with very little technical background and starting to learn how to do it. And they're building products, and they're putting those products on like Gumroad or other places, right? Like, and it's this whole beautiful community of women in AI that I'm starting to see grow there, which I just think is just so cool, because otherwise in previous times they would just be kind of like trying to figure this all out on their own.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's been really cool.
Well, I think that's kind of the interesting thing, like the takeaway from me is when you were in school, it was a lonely space to be in.
Mm-hmm.
And today, thanks to, platforms like Substack, there's communities that are thriving,
Mm-hmm.
and you're able to help continue to tell those stories. So
Exactly.
That's
exactly.
awesome.
And it's exciting for me. There's a new life to it, right? It's been my baby for a long time, and it was really hard to watch it kind of die. It was really sad.
Yeah.
And
you don't have to.
now I don't have to.
Mhm.
I like that.
Yeah.
Well, listen, thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah.
This
Thanks
could be
for
a fun
having
one.
me.
you.
This is a fun one. I was going to ask you, because I don't know the answer to this.
Uh-oh.
What's happening with Fierce Founders right now?
Yeah, we have 2 cohorts running. So Fierce Founders Intensive Track, which is the later stage program. And then Fierce Founders Uplift just launched, which is for women from equity deserving groups. And there's funding for both those programs. But it ties in very nicely. The community piece is why
that's
founders
the
want to
big
be a
thing.
part of it.
Mhm.
And are they're running right now? Like, you're not open for applications at the moment?
Not right
No.
now, no.
But you
No.
will be
We have more money in April, so
April.
come find me then.
There we go. Oh, government year end.
Yeah.
Yay, government year end. Well, listen, thank you again for joining us. Michelle, thank you for being the co-host
Yeah,
today.
thank
I
you.
really
This was fun.
appreciate it. Yeah.
Can I just
oh, yeah.
plug one?
You can this is the whole point of a podcast.
Yeah.
Plugging stuff.
Okay, I just want to give a shout out to an amazing organization run by Sarah Beth Bianchi in town right now called Gender Equity Tech. They run monthly meetups. They will often have childcare. If you sign up early enough, you can have childcare to make sure you can come. It's a really inclusive environment. She's really trying to help uplift women and non-binary individuals in tech in the region. So make sure to go and check her out.
Cool. So we'll have links to all Gender Equity Tech and a bunch of others you passed
Yeah.
over to me in the description. As always, if you have questions about Communitech and programs like Fierce Founders, you can visit communitech.ca or follow along on social media at Communitech on all the major social platforms, not Medium.
Yeah,
Not
maybe
doing that one.
forget that now.
Sorry.
We're still there. We are still there.
You're still there. I'm Alex Kinsella.
Michelle Engelhardt.
Thanks again for listening.